Hi, I'm Dr. Faz, and today we're going to speak about the real reason why men are obsessed with football. So, a couple of clarifications straight off the mark. This doesn't only apply to men, although that tends to be the case. This obviously doesn't apply to all men, and this doesn't necessarily have to be football. This can be other sports as well. So football is the most popular game in the world. It's often called the beautiful game. And in certain countries, like for example, Brazil, there's an unofficial national holiday when they play. And effectively that's companies and workplaces saying, we know that you're going to take the day off to watch the game. Here, take the day off anyway. And there are reasons for it being the most popular game in the world. It's incredibly easy to play. You just need a round object, not even a ball. The rules are really simple. You just take the ball from here to there, and practically anybody can play. However, that doesn't account for the irrationality of why it matters just so much. I mean, effectively, it's 22 people, almost always millionaires, running around on a patch of grass, chasing a ball. Why does it matter so much? It's something that I've found myself wondering and even asking myself, why am I getting so involved and affected by something that I'm so far removed from? But the truth is, there's very little to do with what is taking place on the pitch. We're going to need to talk a little about gender roles. Yes, there are some biological differences between the sexes. For example, women are higher in agreeableness than men. But for this phenomenon, really it's about gender roles and societal conditioning. It isn't uncommon to still hear things like man up, or even song titles like Boys Don't Cry, and people referring to other people as princesses or divas for showing their emotions. Essentially, in a society where sharing emotions is still somewhat stigmatized, we tend to see that stigma more amongst men than women. But what is the role of football or sport here? Essentially, it provides a vehicle to fill that emotional void. Here, men are given permission to be emotional without judgment and without explanation. Your team won, you're ecstatic, fine. Your team lost and you're devastated, equally understandable. Essentially, it's a safe place to express emotions. Now, we see this coming in 4 criteria. Firstly, connection to something larger. So in an increasingly secular time where people don't go to church or their temple to worship, here you have people all congregating in the same place, wearing the same colours, singing the same songs, really being part of something bigger than themselves. Even in football iconography, you see some players almost portrayed as saints. It very much is the place that people go to worship. Even some hymns, well-known hymns, have had the words changed to make them about football. Secondly, we have connection to other followers. So really feeling like you're part of a team and sharing the same desire as hundreds, thousands, sometimes millions of people. We tend to go through our lives quite isolated, headphones in, downward gaze, not interacting with strangers. But for those 90 minutes, people are conversing, sharing feelings, emotions, thoughts with complete strangers. And with the last World Cup, fan zones were set up. So people are more than capable to watch the game from the comfort of their own home. They have a seat, they can go to the loo, they can make a cup of tea, but instead they will queue up, go to a fan zone with hundreds or thousands of other people, spend a lot of money. Why? To feel that connection with those other people. Thirdly, accessing feelings that so often are repressed. It's very unusual to be encouraged or allowed or given permission to feel angry, frustrated, like an injustice has taken place. We're told to have a stiff upper lip and to be stoic. But in a football match, a decision can go against you and you're allowed to express those feelings. It's completely normalized. And that can be quite liberating when we spend so much of our time behaving as we think we ought to behave. So you're allowed to feel excited and euphoric when you quite literally achieve a goal. You're allowed to celebrate. You hug strangers. Again, these things that we are very repressed in our society and we don't engage with easily. Lastly, and we touched upon it earlier, but it's judgment-free. So where we may feel some reservation with going into feeling sad or frustrated with, what might be considered important, like a relationship or work, here with football, you're entirely allowed to feel those feelings openly, without judgment. And it needs no further explanation. It's a valid reason to feel however it is you're feeling. So whilst people might view it as a game, and you need to remember it is just a game, it is also a vehicle for us to engage with so many things that on a day-to-day level we just don't engage with. So how we're feeling, connection to other people, connection to something larger, and to do it in a safe place. And those are the reasons why typically men obsess over football.